amending these bylaws. We have a list of 29 bylaws or amendments that were forwarded to the ministry for their approval by the Attorney General. So these bylaws are what is in the law. However, how we implement them is another thing. We can implement the law in a humane manner that does not leave the citizen feeling badly treated or abused or harassed. So the chief complaints from the citizens, and I know we also have our own complaints, but today I thought we should deal with our citizens' complaints and our own complaints. We have internal mechanisms to deal with them. The chief complaints that I have gathered has been one, the PR, in terms of when we effect the enforcement, how we talk to the citizen, how we demand to the citizen. Zvangas chibuda tichidonzerana tichitukana nema citizens and everything. That we have to stop. We have to stop and we have to change, because the citizens is our boss. At the end of the day, they are the ones that make sure we are able to do their work and facilitate their work. So they've complained a lot about how do we do the APR. I was asking my bosses, what kind of training can we do? If you look at how we do it, there is nothing that harms. If kana mchiona ma movies, pane kumwe kokuti munhu anotanga na good morning, makadini, I am officer so and so, I work in this area, mune mhosva yakati. Tanga tichidai, vanhu vanoreza matemba, vanhu vanopopota, need to be able to be identified. And I think I was talking to your officers that we need to have name tags, and it name force numbers, and it anenga ari papi apa. The names of our supervisors must be readily available. Kuti nini ndinonzi ningi iko zvinotosangana even pama roadblock. Unosvika mupurisa anokudza kuti ndinonzi constable so and so, ndini ndiri panapa ndiri kukubvunzai mubvunzo 1 2 3 4, so that munoita an interaction yakanaka, handiti? Yeah. So that should be part of how we handle my citizens. So at least this is how we expect as your council and as the leadership to handle my citizens. There is a whole range of tactics that can be used in talking to the citizens. So that issue of attitude, it's something that you as persons can change. Yes, it's something that you can change, so that at least the report a person can understand. No, munu yanga are polite, but anga are firm. You are polite, but you are what? You are firm. Panela vanofamba stereke pama airports, pama border kana varipo vanofamba. Unotoshika unotonzi good afternoon say. We are paside up. Toda kuvunza muvunzo yakati, wovunzwa muvunzo yako. Tachikumbira kusecha bag range. Woda jese zvine protocol inenge ichifamba. So it must be standard. Ndizvo. Vanopinda mumamwe mashops akaita sei vantorine standard greeting, vamwe vanoti refreshing good morning, vamwe vanoti pane a standard kumhorosa kwatinoita vanhu muchirudzi chavanonzwisisa. Kana achinzwa chirungu, achinzwa chindevere, achinzwa chishona, a person must feel comfortable. Nemiwo I think makaona mamwe mavideo acho achitenderera naye. Pane zvamunoona kukorekta ma colleagues yenyu nekuzvikorektawo kuti izvizvi hazviitiwo shamwari, nokuti zvinonyadzisa meya, zvinonyadzisa council, zvinogumbura ma citizen. Then tine mamwe machanges atoda kuannounce because hatisikuda kuti titore nguva muri kufanirwa kunge muri saving the people. We need to look at our enforcement. Some of the issues were not your fault. That is what the law and the procedure, as you were told by your leadership. And so the leadership would tell you, do this and do that. We cannot fault you for that process, because that is what would be in your job description and whatever you would be given. So part of the problem, besides the PR I think you can change. Identification, you can change. And how you handle a person, you can change. And I hope that there can be a standard way of handling people. Everyone must feel that there's the standard way. And if a situation becomes complicated for you, there must be a quick way of finding a supervisor who can understand what will be communicated by the other people. These are situations where they are pregnant mothers, expecting mothers, elderly people, disabled people, you know, that kind of thing. They require a different level of empathy or a different level of attention that you might not be authorized to be having. There should be a quick way of dealing with those situations so that we don't have expecting mothers stuck with a parking ticket when they are running to a maternity clinic or other situations. Elderly people, they are very, very elderly people who would have struggled to come into town and who will suffer a bit of trauma. And you should assess and be able to have a mind to say, no, this situation requires a bit of attention. And I think you can learn from the traffic police and these ones who are fairly young, so that at least you share these notes and you understand that vanhu havaoni difference pamuri. Imimi ndimunogona kuona difference yevari kukuku nevari kukuku nemapfekera makasiyana, but to the ordinary person tese tiri sitichi kanzo ndizvo. Ordinary person anenge achingoti ava vane grey ava vane orange, but kuti tione vaone musiyano hakuna. So what this one does and what that one does will affect everyone else. So we need to be very sensitive to these special classes of people. And I've asked that your bosses develop that into your training curricula so that you know how to react when you are encountered with that situation. And the other thing that you can change is corruption. Ndizo. Corruption. That, I think, is squarely in your foot to change. We don't want the reports, the corruption. There are a lot of reports about corruption. There's a lot of reports about somebody being asked. There's a lot of reports about others feeling good. The parking attendants are playing hide and seek with people who want to pay my tickets. People think that they arrive at a parking place, they don't find a city parking marshal. Then as soon as they leave, the clampers are there and the marshal starts saying, no, my hands are what? Are tied. Mdara kana yato klempwa ndatodini? Andichinazo andichaita kiiru kokoko. Indai kwa kati, indai kwa kati. But munachita aiwa, inini, nda ringa, left, right, up and down. Digichaga marshal. So that kind of situation, let's try to avoid it. We will see what is the solution. The solution is probably to increase our payment system. #192 star 192 hash ndizo. Yes. So that people can pay star 192 hash, and that is on the EcoCash platform or the EcoNet platform. We will talk to the other service providers kuti vange vachitipa an ability to be able to receive those payments, and also our chat box, our WhatsApp chat box where people can pay. But what we need is to be able to say this, people are not hiding and people are not corrupt, because we don't, no one wants corruption. Hapana muna andifunguti pane muna anomukamba make achiti today I want to be as corrupt as possible. Ndizo kuti nhasi mudzimai wangu kana baba vangu ndichange ndichizoita corruption yokuti nemiwo muchauya kunokumba muchiridza chi mururu. No, we can't operate like that. It damages the image of the city, it lowers job satisfaction, it lowers citizen satisfaction, and it has drastic consequences if you are caught. If you are caught, you get dismissed, and you get dismissed for $5, $20, and so forth. Muriose yochem. Everyone is now crying because of something that you could easily have avoided. So we are going to announce some measures that will deal with certain issues that the public is complained about. One of the issues is that which I've dealt with, that they will find no one at the marshals or at the street or and so forth. That we should be able to deal it in two ways. Increase the use of technology, *192#, and make sure that the gadgets you have are able to communicate with our payment platforms, so that munhu anozoti aiwa handikwanisi kucommunicate that payment platform. Two, we will look at the possibility of increasing the number of marshals so that people do not have to look for you, but they will find you readily available, so that you don't have pressure if the street is too long and so forth. But the world is moving increasingly towards e-facilities, e-commerce, e-payment, and so forth. So we'll encourage that be done. Then secondly, one of the issues was that people would pay the first dollar. After paying the first dollar, then when they go into a meeting, they go for a doctor's appointment, they go into a queue at the bank, when they come out, their hour will be up. And it osvika kunzi hour renyu radini rapera, rogona kunge rapera ne5 minutes, rapera ne7 minutes, rapera ne20 minutes, the result is the same. Obva hanzi ari kufainiwa. So what we have done, it's going to be written down for you. We have developed a protocol that if it is for 2 hours, right? For 2 hours, if the area is for 2 hours, that person will be allowed to pay their arrears. So if it expired and they come back within the hour of the hour that they are violating, vakadzoka vachiri muhour iroro, tinofanirwa kuvabvumidza kubhadhara aria ticket ravo, ndizvo. Because munhu yeye anenge achingori nema-arrears $1, which means they have been faithful, they have been paying. So vari kukomplaina kuti vedu tiri kuteedzera mutemo, ndangokuta kwete nekuda kwangu, but nekuda kwadokta andinonotsa, interview yanonoka, kufamba kwanetsa, nezvakadi, maybe nepfungwa dziri muno munyika, munhu anenge achingofuga zvakawanda-wanda, ononoka kusvika. So tikavapa that hour and the next hour, vokwanisa kubhadhara ma-arrears ani avo, ndizvo. Then at least vanhu vanonzwisisa. Uya anenge ane chikwereti chakakura-kura, ndo watinozodini, watinozoti iwewe taakudini, taakuklempa, because unotaridza kuti wagara usingadi kudini kubhadhara. Zvese izvo zvandiri kutaura zvichanyorwa pasi kuitira kuti tese tidini tizvinzwisise. But ndati ndizvitaure tiri pajekerere, vanhu vanzwisise kuti tiri kutaurirana ende tiri kuteerera zvavari kutaura. So we will do that, so that at least we deal with the complaint yekuti tinonge tabhadhara pekutanga, todzoka tobatwa topanishwa zvikurukuru pechipiri patinopuwa fine. Asi pane mamwe ma-offense anoitika, anodhiliwa nawo ne-municipal police. Vanhu vanofanirwa kunzwisisa kuti ma-bylaws ari munyika akati one day they are over 29. Kana tikazobatanidza ne-health ne-environment anowanda kudarika ipapo. Asi pane mamwe atati tichinyanya kushandisa, ekutsika pa-white line, ekuta double parking, ekupaka pasiripo panopakwa. Iyoyo imhosva pakutanga panotangira nyaya yani yachona, because painongoonekwa inotori mhosva. Saka mhosva dzakadaro tachikudzira the public kuti aiwa, pamunodzidziswa maresidence ayaya, vanokuudzai kuti pakai, pindai parallel parking, pindai makadai. Vanozviitira izvozvo kuitira kuti kana musapaka pasina parking, musamira pakadai. So vanenge vachiitira izvozvo kuti musazotyora mutemo. So now what we are going to do, people were saying, yes, I would have committed an offense, but the clamping charge and the towing charge are too much. I remember kuti takareduce or taka delay the implementation of the towing charge. Ndizvo. Tika delay the implementation of the storage charge. Because I remember at one time ticket riraibuya richita 229. Do batata aiwa kana iri within the same day charge storage charge towing. So zatakuita ndizvokuti panokomita munhu offense tichaisa unogona kuisirwa claim, but tichakupa nguva yekubhadhara offense yani yako before the claim charge begins to operate. Ndizvo. And the towing charge. I think this will be explained, but I'm trying to explain to the public. So that if you pay your charge or the fine within 2 hours, or within the same day they will fine tune it, you will then pay the fine, but not the clamping charge. Our fines are at $50. The clamping charge was the one which is at $65, which then after VAT and other things was coming up to the 132. So we will delay the implementation of the clamping charge, so that if you pay your fine within the stipulated period, then the charge for the clamping will not accrue. Tukubanzwisisa. Ukabhadhara fine yako munguva yatinenge tatara muma regulations atichakupai o mumapepa amuchapuhwa nevakuru venyu, then munhu tinomubvumidza kubhadhara fine chete, then oregedzwa achiinda kwaanodini, kwaari kuinda. Nokuti vanhu vati izvi ndo zviri kuvarwadza kuti fine yacho yarebesa, which means it will reduce the fine significantly. I know that the fine itself is also a problem, but the fine itself, for it to be reduced, we will have to go through legal processes. So in the meantime, while we have relaxed this implementation, which we can do within the law, we'll then look at the fine itself as a council and look at the legal processes that will allow us to reduce the fine. Once that is done, and that will be done expeditiously, but we have to follow the law so that we will not violate the law ourselves. But what we thought would be very useful to the public is to reduce the amount that is ultimately paid at any given time. We have to be cognizant that a fine has to be deterrent, but at the same time we have to look at the economic circumstances of our citizens. We are not earning a lot of money, they are not earning a lot of money, and sometimes even $30 is a deterrent enough. So we will look at that. But at the present moment, people needed an immediate relief, and they needed to see it in the place, so that if they commit an offense, but we will urge people not to commit the offenses. But mistakes happen. Pane vangu vanenge vari kukomita for the first time or a mistake, then we have a big issue when the penalty becomes too much. So what I have said is something that we can do within the law. So that would bring immediate relief to the residents. As I said, this will be articulated in a memo that will be given to yourself. Then we have a complaint, a desk. There are complaints numbers. I know for the municipal police, all of you have the numbers of your bosses, and you are able to refer things to your bosses. City Park, they have toll-free lines. So these you must be able to tell the people immediately, so that you don't have an argument with the citizens, so that at least they can complain and someone who is senior can deal with that particular complaint, so that at least we are handling the citizens safely and we don't cause problems for the city and for the nation at large. So I think these measures, as I've articulated them, are understandable. Ndizo tiri kunzwisana tese, tiri kufollowa tese, right? So that at least we have a difference in attitude and a difference in terms of the quality of service that we are giving to the people, and also the cost effectiveness of that service. Because we don't want people to go to that era where they think they are walking criminals. Kuti tichangobata mhosva chete. Whatever they do, they will end up what? They will end up paying. So I do understand that there were a number of cars and a number of citizens that were in the at 4th Street for city parking and so forth. So I have spoken to the management, and we were going to see that at least the cars that are there or that have been there are released immediately within their procedures, so that at least we can start from ground zero, because people feel aggrieved, people feel good. Moto yangu ndichaiona rini. So let's try to say, okay, we are starting now, we are starting on a fresh leaf. Whatever it is that you did, we have talked to the managers here and the implementers of our policies, that at least we release those cars, except of course vanamshika-shika ndizo. Yes, vanamshika-shika nanane avo. I think that's a different ball game altogether. But the ordinary citizen who was using their car to travel from point A to point B, let us understand. And then the other complaint was that people feel that mishika-shika yakazara murodu. But my citizens ndo vari kudini? Vari kubatwa. But ava vanenge vatouya mutown vane chinangwa chekutyora mutemo wekanzuru nekutyora mutemo wekutakura vanhu. They seem not to be affected. But those that are law abiding ndo vanoaffectwa. Ndo paya pandanga ndichitaura kuti zvozopedzisira zvoita muvanhu vofunga kuti tiri corrupt, kana kuti mota dzacho ndidzani? Ndedzedu. Hatisi kudzikwanisa kudzibata nokuti ndo ratova business rani redu, pamwe hatitorina mota dzacho. So let's deal with those issues so that the public do not feel unfairly treated. So those are the issues that we have. Then Isusu ultimately, as a city council, we are going to look at our budgetary process, we are going to look at our bylaws within the week and so forth, so that we begin the process of rationalizing some of these charges so that they don't remain as high as they are. So we will embark on a process. We have gotten advice, and we will get advice from our technocrats, the town clerk, the chamber secretary, and if our external lawyers, if need be. And we will make sure that by in the shortest possible time, we will have reduced certain of the figures so that they are deterrent enough, but they are not punitive so as to cripple a person or to cause people to have mental breakdowns, health problems, and other problems that they have been having. So those are the issues. So we must understand that the power that we are using is delegated authority in terms of the bylaws. So the delegated authority is very clear. The council is delegated that authority through the bylaw. The council itself delegates to the chamber secretary, who is in charge of our enforcement. The chief head of our safety is overall in charge of all of us. He is the one who then bears the brunt of making sure that the bylaws are enforced. They are enforced both on the traffic issues and the municipal issues and even the development control issues. They are the ones that make sure that and the buck stops with him, comes to him, and ultimately stops with me as the mayor and my councillors. So this is delegated authority. So it must be exercised judiciously, with discretion, and with the consideration. And there should be a clear chain of command. Ichidzira yakadaro, ichizosvika ku parking. Because the parking, they are implementing 2 of our bylaws. That they are implementing the charging of the parking space and the clamping within the parking space should you violate the procedures that we've outlined. The rest of the bylaws that reach up to 19 and above are implemented by the municipal police. But these are all delegated authority that is implemented through that line of command. So let's have a clear chain of command so that we don't confuse the what? The public. So that they don't end up having a feeling, there's different treatment here, there's different treatment there. The way we implement must be uniform. The reason why we are doing some of these things is to improve efficiency and so forth, and in following with the best practices that we have adopted from elsewhere. But we must not twist those best practices so that they become evil to the people whom we are saving. So that is the summary of what we needed to understand and what I needed to address to you, so that at least we don't want to have to descend on people. We don't want those videos where there's fights, running around, rudeness, weeping, crying, and so forth. No, that has to stop. What we want, yes, we can be polite and we can be firm. It's one of the two. It's only an exceptional circumstances and we're authorized by your chain of command where we can have issues that have gone beyond our control. So are we clear? Anditika. So that musandinyadzisao sa meya wenyu nai. Nokuti vanhu vanenge vakatarisa meya akachena kudai. Ari kuseenzera guta zvakanaka kudai. Tichidefenda vanhu, tichitraya kuti tinonge barara, tivape mvura, vagare zvakanaka. Vosvika vochema nenyaya yemapurisa angu. Zvibudi zvakadini? Zvakanaka. Isusu tiri kansoro yevanhu, ndiri meya wevanhu, muri mapurisa evanhu. Saka let's remember that. Yes, I know. Parking yanga yanetsa, mashop owners anga akukomplaina kuti maparking ari kugara akazara, mashopas haasi kuuya, maclients avo haasi kuuya. Nyika yese ine mutemo nai. Asi tinofanirwa kuita mutemo tine hunhu tichichengetedza vanhu. Vanhu vachinyatsonzwisisa kuti apa ndapanichwa nokuti apa ndandaresvawo. Asi kupanichwa kwacho hakuna kundiuraya. Kupanichwa kokuti mangwana ndinge ndichipinda mutauni zvakare achiziva zvokusaita nezvokuita. So let us make the city proud. Let's make the citizens proud. Let's have a better interaction. So I hope we won't have to have these discussions again in this manner, because the next steps will be a bit more drastic and we'll be dealing with those that violate the concepts and the precepts that we have set out. We believe that we ask you to enforce in good faith, and we want you to reciprocate the good faith that would have given you, and also the faith that the public would have restored in you. We will find a way of making sure that we improve our technology, we improve our working conditions. Maybe mamwe working conditions ndo anoita kuti tive nehasha nevanhu. We will work together to improve. Munhu wese ari kuchallengeka nema-working conditions ake. So let's not take it out on the citizens. Let's work together to improve our working conditions, improve how we travel. We must become a metropolis in the proper order to enforce our environmental laws, my traffic laws in a manner that is useful to the public. And we are working flat out to ensure that we give you the necessary gadgets, tools, and facilitation to be able to handle the public safely and also to do your work in a safe manner. So I hope kana tanzwisana tichange tichimba nemorari, tichinobata vanhu zvakanaka patiri kudzokera muma streets. Ndati ruzhinji ruone tichitaura tese kuti tiri kuita this conversation, kuti anenge aita zvake vanhu vazive kuti haana kutumwa naMafume ba, haana kutumwa neHarare City Council ka, munhu akutongoitawo zviri zvechikonye chiri musoro mani make. Saka isusu tichazouya tomubetsera kuoperata chikonye ichocho osara asisina chikonye ichocho. Kana chatadza kubva tinogona kubvisa chikonye nemunhu wani nemunhu wacho, vongoenda vononetsana nemudzimai wake nevana vake kwaanenge ari kusina macitizens kusvika adini areforma, ndizvo? Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening. We need to go back to our work. Let's have a change in attitude, and let's hope that the citizens will appreciate the work we are doing. At all times, you must remember that we are working for the citizens and the residents of Harare. Thank you.